Okay, well, let's go and get started, if you guys don't mind, with the four we got here. Well, I put up on the website, if you notice, the last few portrait stuff we posted on Bokeh. I put up here on the announcement. We have our portrait lab you guys did last week, which was great. Then we have up there the panoramic as well. I posted, and then the macro is on there as well, and then along with your schedule. So let me go ahead and switch gears here on the schedule real quick. Okay, you can see on the overhead the schedule. Let's look at this. A little change up here. Not much, but tonight we're going to go over discussion on the handout you have in front of you for portrait discussion. Just how to set up a portrait studio for individual or group purposes, either one. Thursday, I need you by the end of night Thursday to have that final count. In this week 12, there is a final count folder or Dropbox for you to submit your final portrait count, and no class on Thursday. So really need to be here if we're just doing a final count. Go to my page that has that on there. Okay, so you see on your sheet, you can shoot, preview, store your images, and you're good to go with a little expense. However, despite this, it's still important to know the basics of taking a good photo. There are many styles of photography, but the most common application is portraits. Whether it be a single person or a large group, people always want the picture of themselves, family, friends, etc. This is a basic guide of a few tips and tricks that will help you. Keep that in mind next time you're snapping photos, which I know you're going to be doing next Tuesday. What you need on the instructions. First is you need a person or a group of people. All right. Second, a camera. Optional would be tripod. Okay. So basically you need your people, you need your camera, and again, tripod is optional. I will have tripod there, but you do not need a tripod. You found that out last Tuesday or last Thursday. And then a well-lit space, or you can have lighting. I did put in here the reflector light or pass-through. The one we'll be having next Tuesday will be a reflector. But I think I mentioned in the lighting lab last week that the pass-through is the most popular and actually costs about $25 for a pass-through. That's the one that has, maybe it looks like a white sheet with a light through it. And I think I mentioned to you a cheap way to do this is the Chinese lanterns at IKEA. It's perfect lighting for portraits, by the way. And it's really inexpensive to do that. And so if you're looking for a really inexpensive way to do it, that's great. Step one, let's look at this. Pick the subject or the photo that you're going to photo. If you're just beginning to experiment with portraits, begin with just one person like we did last week. Make that person feel comfortable, which I think, were you comfortable last week towards the end? I know at the first maybe. Were you comfortable? Were you comfortable? Did they make you feel comfortable last week? Okay, good. So make sure the person feels comfortable when you're taking their photo. It's key to take a good portrait. And one of the things I always tell students is just, because one of the things that when you're there getting your photo taken, it's, am I sitting right? Am I standing right? Just have the person, you can give them direction, like, look up, look down, look to the left, look to the right, things like that. But one of the things you don't want to say is, can you smile a little bit more? Don't say that. Yeah. Don't say that. Don't say your face is crooked. I've actually had people tell me that. My face might be crooked. But if you're born that way, it's not much I can do. Thirdly, you want to make sure, like we just did, laugh, have fun, play some music. That kind of breaks the like we did in our lab last week. It kind of breaks the monotony and, the kind of on edge type stuff, especially when you're taking photos. So something in the background, nothing hard rock or nothing, just, kind of low-key music. The 80s is always good to play. That's generally fairly safe. And so also make sure, as it says here in the step 1, that on the second paragraph, something that always helps would be to give your subject something to do. Okay? That's why I bring props next week. Okay? Something to do. Whether it be hold a book like they're reading it, hold a camera like they're taking a photo, holding a baseball in their hand, a football in their hand, a magazine, looking up to the ceiling. You're giving them instruction of doing something with their person. Does that make sense? Instead of just sitting there. People are a lot less nervous if they have something in their hands to keep them busy while a person photographs them. And maybe you've never done this when you're taking portraits. You've never had anybody do this, but it really helps a lot when a person that you're taking a portrait of is doing something. And it's generally good to have them do something that's natural. Like last semester, a student brought their brother and sister, and they like to play baseball catch between each other. And so what they did, they brought their gloves, they brought their ball, and they basically just played catch back and forth between each other. When they stopped playing catch, the students took a picture of them in between, while they were playing catch. And it was natural. They felt good. They felt at ease. It's something they do all the time. Another one was a guy liked to read a lot. So they brought a book, a novel he was reading. They took a picture of him while he was reading. That's what they did. Another one was, I believe, in the armed forces and just got back from Iraq. The kids just saw the dad, or you reunited with the dad that night on campus. Came in that room. The first time he'd seen dad in a year was during the photo shoot. So you can imagine,
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
very emotional. Kids were excited. And the mom, which was in the class, she wanted us to take pictures of that moment. And so the students got to take pictures of the kids hugging the dad crying, a little, not sobbing, but, tears coming down a little bit. I hadn't seen his kids for a year. So it was pretty emotional, but it was natural. It was all natural. And so that's what I kind of try to get you guys to do next Tuesday in your photo shoot. And so if you are inviting people, have them bring something that they do and they are used to holding in their hands maybe all the time. Now, some of you I know are probably thinking, well, this person drinks a lot. Can't bring alcoholic beverages in, but maybe, I don't know, maybe empty it out and bring it in. Maybe that'll work. So it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that they have, that they do, bring it. That'll help them be less nervous. And then also it says here, try to find a task for the person that captures part of what that person is. And I already mentioned some stories already, so I don't need to mention that again. After all, a portrait should reflect that person's identity. However, keep the task simple and preferably something that will not obscure their face. Okay? And everything I already mentioned already, the reading, the playing catch, the dad hugging the kids, those are all natural things where you can still capture the face of the person or the group of people. Does that all make sense? By the way, I always ask students at this step 1, has anybody ever had photos taken like that? Where you've actually brought something to the photo shoot that you do all the time and they took photos of you doing that? Anybody had that happen? Because most students, I know I had never had that happen, ever, in a professional photo shoot. So you'll get exposed to that next week, and it's really a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Between the music in the background, the food and snacks, people actually having in the photo shoot something they're used to holding, it's a totally different atmosphere on that photo shoot. Okay, let's look at step 2. Make sure you have a good source of light for your subject. We'll have the reflector lights plus the lights that are down there already. But when you're doing it outside of the class, learning to light a photo properly takes time to learn, as you guys have already seen during your photo shoots that you've taken, whether it be indoor or outdoor. But for your purposes, keep it simple. Make sure your subject is not backlit, meaning there's not light coming from the back side, because then the person's face will come out dark. If it's available, have soft light, like the China lights I talked about. If you have a lamp nearby at home and you're taking them inside, you can put a pillow chamois over the lamp for a brief time. Perhaps coming from a window, sitting outside early in the morning, late afternoon, good lighting. Great thing about digital cameras, you can take the test shots and show them immediate results, experiment with a few practice shots and find the best lighting. Step 3, after choosing the perfect lighting, you must decide which setting to use on your camera. And I already went over this last week, but I put it in writing here for you. For a simple point and shoot, make sure your setting is portrait mode. For setting specifically for portraits, set your camera to that. If you have a DSLR that allows you to set aperture mode, do it that. The reason why you want to do this is it would reduce the depth of field for the photograph, because most of your, well, all of your portraits are going to be pretty linear, not going to have a lot of depth to them. They're not going to be like the macro. Everything's going to be clear. You want everything to be clear in that photo, and aperture works well for that. And because you want the focus of the picture of the person and not the background, make sure you set to aperture mode. And there are also other intricacies about your cameras which you know about. I put in here like shutter speed maybe, or other things about your camera. But this is a basic rule. So again, point and shoot, portrait mode. If you have SLRs, DSLRs, aperture mode. Remember, the aperture mode will set the ISO for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Because basically what the deal is on portraits is, you're concerned with the subject, not the camera. That makes sense? You're concerned with getting the right shot. So you want to really tinker as least amount as possible with the camera settings and be able to focus on the subject, be able to focus on taking a good photo. And then step 4. Here is the final step, composing the picture. Making sure it's very, this is the most important part. 2 people could take a picture of the same subject and be different, okay? And rule of thirds also applies in this one. And so basically what you want to do is, and you maybe saw me do this last week when we were taking photos. You just put your hands up, and you can actually do this when you're taking a photo and you're framing your photo basically to have in that photo the rule of thirds, all right, in that photo frame. And here's the deal. If you're taking a picture of one person in a setting, in a photo portrait, you want to make sure the eyes fall in where I'm drawing here. One of the 4 areas right here on the picture. The eyes fall in those areas. It's going to look better end result for that. Now, can you do this post-production? You definitely can do this post-production. But it's better to go ahead and do it the real thing while you're taking a photo. Be thinking of it. Groups of people, what I suggest is, make sure on groups of people, add another slide here. We'll pretend this is a group of people, and we've got, say, 5 individuals here, all different heights, maybe. There's 6 people here, all different heights. Okay? Only thing you got to make sure on this one is that no person is hiding the other person's face. So, for instance, this person here, you wouldn't want them to be, say, in front of this person here, because they would totally hide their face. And so if you stair step them somewhat to give some variety, that's always good on height. Another trick is you can have a person in a chair and a person standing up. We'll have chairs down there next week. And so you can have a person sitting in a chair, like the wife sitting in a chair, and the husband behind the wife with his hands on her shoulder. You can direct stuff like that. That's fine. Leaning down, having the wife or the husband, either one, lean down and kiss the wife or the husband, either one, on the cheek. That's a good photo too. That's a cute photo to take. For kids, having them take photos of them playing together, whether it be, say for instance, they have some game that they play, and at the end of that game they're laughing. That's a great shot right there. When they're laughing and not paying attention to the camera right then. The best photos I've ever taken are photos that where the people are not aware of you taking their photo. Right? That's the best ones. And also too, because I actually saw this last week with you. When you weren't worried about the photo, the person taking the photo, you know, like you put your hand on your hat and different, you know, I could tell you weren't caring about the camera. That's when the subject actually feels the most comfortable. And so that's what you want it to be, kind of, you know, everybody's guards down, everybody's having fun, it's no big pressure. And so you get the best photos that way. People have everybody has a certain look when it comes to taking photos. When you know that that's a natural look, that's what you want to go for. Okay, that natural look of, you know, it's not posed, it's a natural look. And so that's what you're shooting for the photos, for the portraits. But you can give them direction, like where they stand in a group like this, making sure that a person's not in front of another person that's too tall or whatever. Having a person sit down, having a person go on their knee. I had this one last year where both kids laid on their elbows on a blanket with their hands on their chin like this. Took photos like that. That looked cute. And so, you know, stuff like that you can do. Give them instruction like that. But always encourage them as you're taking the photos. Hey, this looks great. Good job. Perfect. Good job. Almost done. We're almost done. Especially with kids, you want to always tell them we're almost done. Okay? Because they want to get out of there for the most part. Now, I have seen some kids that are hams, but for the most part,
no, Josh.
They want to get out of there. Okay? Now, I will bring some snacks for kids next week, but we'll get them taken care of the first time. But when you're taking a picture of the kids, just remember, praise them, tell them they're a good job, we're almost done, you know, and that'll go a long ways with little kids for sure. Okay? And we'll try to get them out as soon as possible. Okay? So that's how to set up a portrait photo setting, which you'll be taking a lot over your lifetime for family and friends. Now let's talk about one last thing, which is backdrop. Here's the front on your handout. And I like to use backdrops a lot in portraits, even for family things. And in backdrops, what I generally try to use is we're going to use a unnatural next week because we just don't have a natural setting down there. But you want to look for, the most part, for backdrops, something natural as a backdrop. It could be a fireplace in your grandma's house that everybody goes to every year for family reunion. Basically what you're looking for is like a landmark for your family. Can anybody think of a landmark? Share with us a landmark that your family has every year, every 5 years, or whenever they get together. It's a landmark for your family. And that landmark, again, could be fireplace. It could be, a tree that everybody gathers around every time you take photos. It could be, I don't know what. Anybody have anything like that? When I grew up, it was in our grandparents' home. We would take a picture in front of the fireplace. It wasn't a big fireplace, but everybody would squish around this fireplace, and we would take a photo in front of the fireplace every year. All 15, 20, 30, however many added over the years, the grandkids, great-grandkids. So does that make sense, though? Something that's a natural landmark for that family or that location maybe, okay? Natural looks better when you're taking portraits, so that's what you want to shoot for anyway. You can't always get that, but you want to shoot for that. In weddings, backdrops are important as well. If you're taking portraits in weddings, I did one over the summer, and it was in front of the water in Michigan. It was right on the water there. And a lot of the pictures were taken with the backdrop of the water during midday, which was really pretty. So again, natural backdrop. If you're going to use man-made backdrops, here's what I recommend. I think I mentioned this last week. Do not spend a lot of money on man-made backdrops. Okay. What you want to look for is they're called the rolls of basically paper that have different patterns. Okay, they have different patterns. They're generally about 12 to 15 feet in length. and you can roll them up when you're done. And they generally cost about $20 per roll. And they're about a 48 inch. I think most of them are about 48 inches wide, roughly. And they're on a roll. And those you can get at Walmart, have rolls like this. Michael's has this as well. So I'll go ahead and put down that both. Walmart, you can buy them there. They're about the same price, by the way, at both places. Michael's is not that expensive on this stuff. Okay? And you can find good deals on this too. So, and what's great about these rolls is you can find patterns or something that, you can use over and over again for different functions. Like say, a year birthday party for a baby. You have the baby pattern of the rattler, or the boy might be a boat background with sailboats. A girl might be a princess background. So you find a whole bunch of different backgrounds that are really inexpensive. You can go to the camera stores to buy these backdrops, but instead of being $20, you're going to pay $100 per roll. Okay, and yeah, the quality's a little bit better, but you don't need to do that. I've never done that. I literally have never done that. If I did this for a living all the time, every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, yeah, I could see the need for buying a $100 backdrop. But if I'm doing this twice, 3 times a year for my family and for different relatives and a couple weddings, I don't need to spend $100 for a backdrop. That make sense? So you can find what you need at these locations easily. Okay? I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, one last thing, and we've talked about this already. It's inside of a photo or out in a actual photo. Foreground. Can't spell. Okay, so the foreground basically, you're going to have. We'll take kids for an example. We've got two boys here, okay, and they've got we'll say they have a basketball. Here's a basketball here, okay, and you want the basketball. They're both on their knees on the floor, okay. The basketball is in front of the two boys in the picture, okay. This basketball will actually add depth to the photo, and it's very inexpensive, and it's something around the house that you're going to add as a foreground. So be thinking of that Tuesday with the props and things. Be thinking of foreground in your photos as you're taking the photos. And it's sometimes hard to think of because when we take portraits, what are we thinking of? The people, right? We're not thinking of anything in front of them, but that one object or objects in front of those folks or in front of that person will make a world of difference when it comes to just, the whole quality of the photo, basically. Does that make sense? Okay. So, any questions? Portraits ready next week. Thursday, remember, no class. Fill out the portrait count for Thursday. If you have any questions about who you're bringing, remember you can bring grandma, grandpa, mom and dad, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, dogs. We've had everything from dogs, cats, a ferret, a rat, a snake, a bird. That's about it. That's enough. That's pretty much a wide range of pets that you could bring in. Only thing we've not had is fish. Not had fish. Nobody brought a fish yet. But you could bring a fish tank if you wanted to. Just hold fish tank, somebody hold it. And keep it in the tank though. All right. Snack-wise, I will be bringing some veggie dip type snacks and some water, veggie and dip type snacks. You can bring chips, cookies. Just don't bring stuff like pixie sticks. I think that's what they call it. All sugar. You don't bring anything's all sugar. Basically, stay away from that. Everything else, though, you're pretty good to go. All right. And when you guys come in next week, if you want to get here, it starts at 6. I'm going to be set up by 5:30 down there. So if you want to come in by at least 5:45 next week to make sure all the snacks are on the table, That way when everybody starts coming in, I know some of you might be coming with the people you're getting your photo. So if you can't get here till right at 6, that's fine. But for those of you that can get here early, that'd be great to help get everything set up. Well, let's just find out real quick. Can anybody get here at 5:45 or 10:06? Let's say 10:06 next Tuesday. If I can just have a couple people say they could try to be here. Okay, great. So 2 or 3 of you guys
Yeah,
be
my little
here?
guy's just coming with me, so.
I don't even know.
Okay.
My daughter.
Can you two? No? Yay? Maybe? Like 10 till? 10 till will be fine. That'd be fine. And then you try to get
My
here?
daughter will be here too.
Should be, okay, cool. All right, so basically it's just moving the chairs around, making sure the props are up on the wall, the backdrops, lights are up, stuff like that. That's about it, so. Okay, cool. Well, any questions? Yes?
So, are we supposed to bring a backdrop?
No, you do not have to bring a backdrop, no. I'm providing the black backdrop and I'm providing the backdrop for both rooms.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to bring a backdrop, no. You can bring a prop though for the person you're taking a photo with, but that's about
Is
it.
that bringing a baby?
Bring props for the baby, what the toy, their favorite toy or his
We always
favorite
do
toy.
that in Portrait Studios.
Oh yeah, they usually always for babies. It's adults that we don't do that with adults. Adults generally don't have a little toy or something we're playing with or a book.
Except
we're
their
reading.
cell phones.
Cell phones would actually be, in fact, a number of people did cell phones last year, last semester, which I thought was pretty cool. But people are always on their cell phones.
Yeah, that's my one
Texting, it
son.
was 2 kids texting each other like this. Instead of talking to each other, they're sitting texting each other.
Crazy.
All right? Okay? All right, well, I'm done. See everybody next Tuesday. If you have any questions, come and see me.
I submitted everything Sunday, including.
First thing